The Mystery of Mistletoe Hall, a 1920s mystery. Lord Edgington Investigates, Book 4, by Benedict Brown, read by George Blagden. Prologue. When they found the final corpse, we left the house in one large group. No one said a word as we followed the brass-buttoned officer through the snow. The high banks that had accumulated the day before were turning to ice, and the ground crunched and compacted underfoot as the parade of mourners thinned out into one long line. It was a grim moment, but my grandfather's golden retriever wasn't to know that. Delilah took big flouncing jumps and stopped from time to time to roll about in the fluffy white stuff. I must admit, I was jealous. With everything that had occurred since we'd arrived at Mistletoe Hall, I'd had very little time to play in the snow. I found myself copying Delilah and bounded ahead of the group, until my grandfather gave me a disapproving look to remind me why we'd gone outside in the first place. I fell back and allowed the old man to set the pace. Mother wore a melancholy expression as I took her hand to help negotiate a patch of slippery ground, and we walked along arm in arm through the forest. When we arrived at our destination, the sight was both more macabre and more mundane than I could have imagined. The body had been suspended from the lowest branch of a beech tree, with eyes tightly closed, as if in the middle of a nap. I found myself crossing my fingers that the sleeper would awake at any moment to break the spell, but I was old enough to know that wishing wouldn't get me far. There was blood on the ground, though I saw no obvious wounds on the limp body. I tried not to look at the noose because I didn't want to see the swollen red marks where the rope had bitten into flesh. We'd reached the end of our torturous Christmas holiday, and it no longer seemed important whether the killer would be punished or justice would be served. The only thing that mattered was the people who had died, and that there was nothing we could do to bring them back. A second police officer arrived from the house with a saw. He worked for a few seconds at the rope before the body landed down gently in the snow. I let out a gasp as those bulging eyes came involuntarily open, and the poor soul stared out at us one last time.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?